All right, we are live. Welcome, family, to another show. Today, as I'm sure many of you have already heard, um, Kevin Samuels has passed away. A very unfortunate event. I woke up to this news. I started immediately making the phone calls to, YouTubers, friends of mine, and it has been confirmed by our family that Kevin Samuels was found in his apartment unresponsive. So rest in peace to Kevin Samuels, man. This is a very difficult time. Um, he meant a lot. He came from the Black Manosphere. I actually remember being on a live stream with a YouTuber called BGS. Some of you might be familiar with BGS, Idmore, and he was actually on that live stream. This was years ago. This was like a maybe maybe 4 or 5 years ago. This is before I even started traveling. And he made his comments on that live stream. He was like a repeat guest. And I always remember, I was like, yeah, this guy makes a lot of sense. And then when he came out with his YouTube channel, eventually he was putting guys on different fashions and different colognes. So I immediately bought a couple of the colognes that he mentioned, and they were good colognes, man. So I immediately understood that Kevin Samuels definitely is a guy that knows what he's talking about. You know, uh, some people would call him a controversial figure. I don't think Kevin Samuels was really controversial. I think the truth in this day and age is controversial. Many classic streams, man, always on point. I've mentioned him on shows, you know, talking about some of his talking points. You know, he was good with the passport bros. He definitely understood, our rhyme and reason for traveling the world. For whatever reason, we decided to travel the world. But in a lot of cases, most men are traveling the world, looking for love or looking for more genuine relationships. And he understood that. He never came at us sideways or anything like that. Especially once he understood that, hey, you're gonna have some guys that want to rebel in the dating market in America, and you have some guys that are gonna opt out the dating market in America. And most guys that have passports consider themselves passport bros have pretty much opted out in most cases. In most cases, single guys have pretty much opted out and decided to travel the world. So Kevin Simmons was definitely in agreement with that. I even believe that he said in certain streams that he was like, "Hey, man, you got your girls keep acting up. Sorry about that. You're gonna find guys going to Colombia, going to Latin countries, falling in love. So you girls better act right." The most thing I like about Kevin Samuels was he really did change a narrative. And I don't think a lot of people understand exactly what Kevin Samuels did. Now, Kevin Samuels, like I said, came out of the Black manosphere, the red pill space, and having these conversations. And he took these conversations to a whole nother level because of his presentation and the way that he eloquently would challenge women on their talking points. And a lot of times the women were just off center, off key, and always try to deflect. He always would point that out, the deflections and everything. So he was very good, very talented at picking apart, these women's talking points. And a lot of times it just was delusional. And he was pointing that out, man. And that really helped. See, the thing about Kevin Samuels, and where a lot of women get misconstrued, and I'm not going to go into, um, you know, people making negative comments about his passing. We're not even going to go into that. All right, because we're gonna celebrate his life and the change that he made in his 57 years of living here. All right, because we don't have the full details of how he passed. We don't have a toxicology report. We don't know at this point, but we're going to talk about the change he was able to make. A lot of times, people run from the truth. A lot of us do. Everybody does it, right? People run from the truth, but you need that family member. You need that uncle. You need that friend who's a not to be unapologetic to you when telling you, "Hey, you're wrong. Hey, you off center here. Hey, this is not the right lane for you to go. You messing up." And that's what Kevin Samuels was to women, and he hold black men accountable too. He hold men in general accountable. We got to step our game up. I love the way he, dressed in suits and had a nice background. He put a lot of guys with the eyeglasses and shades. He was in his Facebook group. I heard that a lot of black people were linking up for marriages and stuff like that because He understood that in order to make a significant change, you cannot always butter coat or candy polish messages and statements that's going to actually help our community. Sometimes you got to just be straight to the chase. You don't have time to go back and forth and put everything in this candy coated dish and try to hope that the message is deep within the candy, or what they say, the poison is in the message, or the message in the poison. You know what I mean? Like, he just was straight to the case, right? And he would correct women all the time. And some people would look at that as being controversial, but that's not really controversial. That's just the day and age we in, that it's not a good thing to tell the truth. All right. And he was speaking on what men have wanted to say for the last 30, 40, 50 years. Conversations we had in barbershops, conversations we had amongst each other, just amongst men. All right. That suffering some of us have, all endured. Really, all of us have pretty much endured in America with the deconstruction of the Black family. They're coming in and manipulating our women to, go their own way and be independent. They're suffering over here. We're suffering over here. So he came into that and he was like, hey, man, this is what needs to be done. This is what needs to be said to these women, because you can't sit here and try to be such a nice guy. The guys that don't want to tell women the truth are the guys that really don't really like, love, and appreciate women, and particularly Black women, because that's mostly what we were talking. What he was aiming at. The fact that our family structure is broken. All right, and a lot of our women took that poison pill. So that's where you're gonna get some of the, and sometimes was he, a little aggressive in his delivering? Yeah, but it's YouTube. You have to be. It's still entertainment at the end of the day, so you can't be dry with it. But people always wonder, why do women call in? You know why women really call in? Because they actually want help. They actually looking for a solution. But when you Dr. Boyce Watkins them and try to say, oh, sis, it's going to be okay. You're going to find a man. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting those degrees. Keep making your money. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. That's not helping anything. All right. Yeah, girl, you fine. You got 3-4 kids out of wedlock. Oh, you're going to find you a 6-figure guy. No problem. That's not helping anything. You're not giving them the reality of what men really want. And that's what Kevin Samuels would tell women. Like, in mass, men really want pretty much a good, genuine woman. All right. It's okay to be successful, but you have to take care of a man like a man has to take care of you. And that's the general message I got from Kevin Samuels. I think Kevin Samuels really made a mark. Before his passing, he made a mark. And when I heard about it, it really reminded me, and I'm going to get to the comments section in a minute, family. Let me just get my discourse out. It really reminded me of Charles Tyler's passing. When I found out that Charles Tyler passed away, I believe in his late 40s, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a heart attack as well. It's like, damn, he was just getting to that level. I believe, he had a YouTube channel. He was growing when he passed away. He was going to get to that other level. Kevin Samuels made to that level, and then beyond that level. People said that Kevin Samuels would never go mainstream, but he went mainstream. And it's not without some people saying that some of the things he did, whatever, Nicki Minaj video and all that, it was a rhyme and reason. It was his method. It was a method within his madness, as we can all see. Kevin Samuels was remarkably successful with over 1 million subscribers. So you're not going to be that successful and not have a message behind it. You know what I'm saying? His message was genuine. It was truthful. And sometimes it could be brutally honest, depending on who he was in conversations with. But a lot of things, a lot of his videos, people need to really, sometimes you have to see yourself. And the cool thing I like about Kevin Samuels' channel is women and men get to see themselves, right? You get to see yourself on video. Women that are saying that they're 8, 9s, and 10s, they look at the video, they be like, you know what? I need to slow down. Maybe I should take the blue collar guy a little more serious now, because they see what they're looking like on video. They can hear themselves like, damn, I sound like a damn fool. You know, sometimes people need that. And that's what Kevin Samuels brought to us, man. So rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. Tough loss. I didn't want to believe it. I'm not gonna get into, you know, the details of, you know, the passing, because we don't know at this point. And I don't want to speculate, you know. Clicking on different videos, people are throwing around rumors, cats like Saints and Sinner, clown ass throwing around rumors and stuff like that. You know, we're not gonna go through all that because we're too classy for that. We're men. We're not gonna speculate. We're gonna find out what happened eventually, hopefully the next couple of days, maybe next week or two. But just once again, rest in power to Kevin Samuels, man. Blessings to his family. I know his family's having a tough time. But the good thing is, like I said, his message will always be here. You know, his channel will always be here. His content will always be here. And a lot of guys are going to reach back into his older videos and see that, hey, man, this guy was dead on point. All right, let me get to some of the comments, guys, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Jobson Townsend says, RIP to the Godfather. Mr. That makes sense. We're not really positive about how he passed. They're saying it's a cardiac arrest, but we're not really sure at this point. Everybody saying rest in power. Shout out to the Dazzling Urbanite. Shout out to you. Thanks for checking in. I know it's like, what, 3, 4 in the morning? I'm in Thailand, so that's why it's daylight outside. I think what time is it there? It is about 3:45. Yeah, 3:45 a.m. on the East Coast in America, man. So you guys are up late. All right. Maybe I'm catching some of you West Coast guys. You guys are up late. Shout out to Fred Fells. Yes, he says, rest in power, Kevin Samuels. Such a shame. Shout out to Kane the Conqueror, the Knife. You changed your name again. And we got to do a show there to dissect that name one day. He says, had to come from the quantum realm to deliver the message. Genius is always misunderstood until it's passing. That's right. Shout out to Jay Knight. He says, modern women show themselves in full effect. Furious Style says, facts. Okay, so I do want to speak on that real quick. I don't know I don't know what that's a symbol. That's not really a name. He says, black men pay attention to black women celebrate. Now, I will say this. From the posts and comments I've seen on Facebook thus far, because I really don't too much read to the comments too much on YouTube. I'm not on Twitter or anything like that. So I'm just looking through Facebook. And the comments were mixed. To our sister's credit, you know, you do have, you know, some of them, you know, from what I could see that were throwing dirt, you know, on his name, unfortunately. But it was some sisters in there that was saying, you know, death is sad. You know, some of them identify with in a positive way to his message. So from what I saw from the comments, and I've read through some of them, about 300 comments, it was actually kind of a mixed balance. You know, this is the thing, guys, you got to understand. I know we make generalizations about black women. And, you know, and this is me not trying to cape for black women in any type of form of fashion. As you see, I'm traveling the world. I date all types of women. Afro women, Latino women, whatever. I date them all. But I will say that the good black women do get thrown under the bus. You know what I'm saying? And that's to their fault too as well, because, and I've seen some black YouTubers, sisters that's kind of coming out and making like, hey, you know, we need to improve this, we need to improve that, because you do have a percentage of black women in America who do want the black family back. They want the black family back because they grew up, you know, at the tail end of 2-parent households. And they see how beneficial it is to the black family overall. You know, once you have success with the black family, then you have success with the black neighborhood. That turns into, you know, a culture of black success, you know, within a community. Neighborhoods turn into communities. And then it branches off and you start building black Wall Streets, right? Because the interior, the foundation of the children is strong, and that strong children become strong people, strong men and women. And that's the reason why so many tampering of the black family. You know, I don't mean to be all over the place here, but you do have, you know, some sisters in America that wants things to work out again. They want a man in the home. They want a man in the house helping them raise their children. All right. So you do have a sense of that. So I think it's kind of mixed, but we all know that, you know, the majority be on that bullshit. You know, I will say that. All right. Shout out to the Dazzler Urbanite, great tribute at BMT. Thanks, man. Thanks. Like I said, I sat here before I went live for about 20 minutes. I just sat here and really try to internalize, the passing of him. He's such a big figure. This is big. This is not, a small person. Like this guy was huge. He was very successful. And how do how do you say capsulate what he did in just a 30 minutes to an hour segment, right? And also, the controversy behind how his passing and all that. So I really try to internalize that, man. Try to deliver a good rest in power video to our brother Kevin Samuels, man. Like I said, tough loss. It was reminiscent of losing Charles Tyler in the travel sector, the passport community. So it's tough, man. And I want to say in closing, like I said, it's not going to be a long video. We got 92 in the room. You guys are up late, man. No worries. I'm gonna come around and do another video. I got a lot of news coming out of Thailand and Colombia, a lot of new entry requirements for you guys. So I'm gonna come back later on with some news updates and stuff like that, about traveling. But I definitely want to say rest in power to our good brother Kevin Samuels before I go, man. Very large figure, tough loss, especially within the spaces of the Black man sphere, especially for guys like myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys who heard of Kevin Samuels early on, like very, very early on. Like I said, I was in some of those live chats, them chat rooms back in the day when Kevin Samuels was on the panel, and I was like, yeah, this guy's making a lot of sense. What he's saying. So guys, once again, rest in power to Kevin Samuels. Tough loss. Before we go, I do want to say this, man. Live your life to the fullest, guys. If you don't take anything away from this video, live your life to the fullest. Love your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Call them up. Say, I don't care if you have a different situation with your father, your moms, whoever that you got love for. Call them. Say, hey, man, I love you. And guys, live your life. If you're not living, you're slowly dying. If you have a terrible job, you can get another job. You can be an entrepreneur. There's a lot of new spaces out here. The creator economy, is in full effect right now. So, it's many ways to make a dollar. As you can see by the great Kevin Samuels, he was able to monetize his message and make millions of dollars. So guys, make sure you live your lives, travel the world, do what you want to do, because you never know where you're going to go. Nobody knows. I don't care how powerful you are, how successful you are, how in shape you are, how much you have together. You just never know when you're going to go. So live your life to the fullest. Live life with no regrets. If you woke up in the morning, hey man, that's a good thing. All right? Peace.